My name is Jane Wade, and I came to this country in 1960 at the beginning of March. And when I came here first, although I was an Adventist back home, when we came in Preston, there was no Seventh-day Adventist church in Preston. So eventually started to go in Loon Street Methodist Church and go there for a while. Then we found out that there was a church, Seventh-day Adventist church in Chorley. So a lot of the members, we used to travel from Preston, go to Chorley and have service there. Then eventually one of the members by the name of Mr. McBean, Adolphus McBean, he spoke to a few of us as members and asked, would it be all right if we, form a church in Preston? And there was this building in 29 New Hall Lane, and I can't remember whether it was members put money together to buy the building, but anyhow it was purchased. And it had a lot of things to do on it because refurbished and everything. But before we started out, we were told if about 11 members of us will be able to form a church. Eventually we had more than 11. It was about 14, 15 of us, beside children. And I can remember the very first Sabbath when we wanted to start it out, we had a lot of cleaning to do with the children, with dust and everything. We did a lot of cleaning, although it wasn't finished, but we make it ready for the Sabbath. And that was in 1964, I could remember. And from there, we traveled different places. And our first minister, I can remember, I think he was an Egyptian, Pastor G, when we came there. And we had him for about 2 years, and then he moved on. And from there, other ministers coming.
Well, my name is David Koch. I'm a third generation Seventh-day Adventist from Jamaica. And if I could just give a little background as to how it was that I find myself in the Seventh-day Adventist Church. Well, as my father related to me, his father was a Seventh-day Adventist, but previous to that, he was a Sunday worshiper. And one day, he was in the field, this was on a Saturday, and having finished his day's work, he came home and he was sitting in his hammock, enjoying the sun and the cool breeze of Jamaica. But right across the road in a little district by the name of Tyre, there was a Seventh-day Adventist gathering. It wasn't a church, it was just a home where people meet to worship. And they were singing the song, "When the roll is called up yonder, I'll be there." And when my grandfather heard that song, he left the hammock and he went to that little home and joined the people there who were worshiping. And from then on, he never did return back to the field on a Saturday. And eventually, I would imagine he became a Seventh-day Adventist. And the doxology song of the Coates family is, "When the roll is called up yonder, I'll be there." Well, my father, he grew up with his 8 siblings in the Seventh-day Adventist Church, migrated to United Kingdom in the 1950s, and I myself came to England in 1960, January, residing in London for about 4 years before making my way to Preston. And I have been happy ever since, and no regrets in moving to Preston. But when I came to Preston, I met the brethren worshiping in private home, 29 New Orleans, as my dear sister has already stated. And we worshiped there for a number of years. And as she has said, when I came, the first minister to the church that I met was a pastor, I think he was, she said he's from Russia. I thought Egypt. I perhaps think he was from the United States because of the accent. And his name was Pastor G. But before he came here, I understand there was a minister before him, Pastor Edwards, which I have never met. And after worshiping in New Orleans for a number of years, we moved from there down to a building opposite the park, Avon Park. From Avon Park, we moved to a Chinese restaurant above the, where was this?
It was down...
opposite the railway station. There was a Chinese restaurant, and we worship on the top floor. And it was such a place that, you know, when lunchtime came and they were cooking downstairs, you know, everybody's attention turned to food because of the aroma that was coming up. From there, we left and we went to Brother St. Val's home in Houston Street. And I think we worship in Trower Street in Sister Frida's home.
Yes.
And several other places. And all those times we were always looking for a place of our own. And eventually, one of our Brother Jeffries, located 16 Newton Road. And again, we just pooled money together and we purchased that place, and we spent some 20 years there. But while we were there, we were still looking for other accommodation because our numbers were continually growing. And we probably looked at about 16 different premises before moving to this current building in 2006. And this has become our spiritual home, and I dare say it will remain so for many, many years yet to come.
And how does your faith help you with your daily life?
My faith, as the years roll on, it got stronger. For instance, when you were younger, you know, sometimes your faith seems to dwindle a bit, and especially with meeting a partner, and if both of us is not of the same faith, you know, one just begin to get cold. And I could remember that once I stopped going to church for a bit. And then eventually one of our ministers, which was Pastor Cox, when he came to Preston, he always visited my home. At that time I had 5 children then, and most time when he comes, I'm always busy in the kitchen. One day he said to me, oh, sister, my name was Daly then, he said, Sister Daly, whenever I come, you're always so busy. But he stand at the kitchen door and he will talk to me and I talk to him while he's going. But, so he said to me, why don't you come to church, you know, come back to church. So I said, I'll come one of these days, Pastor. So he said to me, and you can come this Sabbath. That time they were worshiping in Roper Hall. And he said, I will be in Blackpool in the morning, but I will be glad if you come along. And so said, I did went on that Sabbath, and I think this is quite a long time, about nearly 40 years now. See. And from that time when I went in Roper Hall, I never looked back. And my faith began to get stronger and stronger in the Lord. And I'm glad to be Assembly Adventist. I could not be anything else. I got, from when I was 11, I myself learned about the Sabbath day. And because my parents, they were Methodists, and we used to go to church every Sunday. But since I heard, read in the Bible and about the Sabbath day, and I believe in the Bible and what God said. I decided from there that I would follow, the Lord. And I'm very happy, very happy.
Well, as for myself, as I've stated before, I'm third generation Seventh-day Adventist. But I'm not a Seventh-day Adventist today because of what my father believed, or my grandfather before me believed, but it's because of my own understanding of the scriptures. And that is the foundation of my faith. And that is why I'm a Seventh-day Adventist. Well, the name Seventh-day Adventist was given to the church back in the 1800s. And the name Seventh-day Adventist means that we believe in the seventh-day Sabbath, as stated in Scripture. And Advent teaches us that we look forward for the second return of Christ, hence the name Seventh-day Adventist. How have my faith been challenged? Well, perhaps not to a great degree, because oftentimes I have stated to colleagues of mine, I've never had a Damascus Road experience. And I remember one brother said to me, well, David, you don't have to have Paul's experience on the Damascus Road. Because the day-to-day challenges, they can be your Damascus Road experience. They may not be major, but they are challenges. And as a taxi driver, which I have been doing now for the past 23 years, I've had some experiences that when I reflect back, I said, maybe this is my Damascus Road experience. Because when you have sat on the taxi rank for 2 hours without a job, and then you get a job, and that person tells you, look, I want to go to XYZ, but I haven't got any money. Can you take me? When I get there, I will see to it that you get paid. And you think to yourself, well, will I really get the money? But because I'm a Christian and somebody's in need, I don't want to pass her by or him by on the other side of the road. I take that individual to their place of this destination. And when you have arrived there, you find you've been taken around the bush and no pay. And so I've wasted my diesel, I've wasted my time. By the time I get back to the town, everything is gone. So my night has been a waste. And as a Christian, as a Seventh-day Adventist, I allow that to go by. Okay? I don't dwell on it too much because I claim that the Lord will provide. And He does provide. So these are some of the minor ways in which, or maybe you could say, it's the major way in which I have been challenged as a Seventh-day Adventist. Being a Seventh-day Adventist Christian, it's a joy. It is my pleasure to serve the Lord. And it is my desire to do so until He puts in His appearance or He calls me.